the last adjustments will be made. RNG back on blue. Blue has won every game so far in this series, and RNG will have the advantage of being on that side. They are going to ban out the LeBlanc, which was very problematic. I like the point from Lyric. I did kind of agree that, you know, a lot of the aggression that RNG were throwing towards Faker just wasn't effective because LeBlanc has so much mobility, so much safety. Faker, even in that 1v3 outplaying in mid lane, was able to be so active as well in the team fights. A lot of these bans are new, really, through the adaptation in this series. You know, the LeBlanc coming back into the ban after kind of following out early. The Xayah really rising to priority. The Viego getting banned out because Wei had been so dominant on it. I'm so interested to see if Wukong is going to go through again, because it has been really, really powerful, but they just seem to be more worried about some of these other picks.
Yeah, I think that the question is, what about Gwen? What about Gangplank?
Gwen, probably.
Well, this is the thing. Will T1 run the risk of giving it over to Bin once more? It's a champion that is clearly very difficult to deal with. I'm very curious, what will they remove? The GP. Okay, they're heavily suggesting the Gwen first pick once again. Galio is up. Gwen is up. T1 Ahri is also up.
You know what would be really interesting? Is if they don't ban Gwen, you actually just first pick Wukong as RNG and then threaten the Jax as the counter pick. Yeah. Because Bin is actually really comfortable in that matchup.
It's what they did game 5.
Yeah, so I actually think it would really make sense. And now T1 has to consider that. Like, do you just ban the Gwen here? Like, or are you willing to actually trade? Because if you ban Gwen, then they just take the Wukong. So now I actually love this. I think they take Wukong. They say, I dare you to take Gwen because we will play the Jax into it. Excuse me. You could play. Play the inverse. I thought they would take the Wukong. Yeah, but it's. We'll see. Maybe they just want the Gwen anyway.
I think they're so comfortable on the Gwen. They're just saying, you know what, we'll grab it. We don't care.
Wukong's just such a strong team fighter.
The thing is now, the T1, I wouldn't be surprised if they went Ahri Wukong, right? And then, of course, the RNG response is they could either go Galio, but they would probably go Lissandra, Lee Sin. And you're kind of looking into what seems to be a predetermined draft, and where will the variations come from? Yeah,
and I really thought we were going to see that variation of the threatening of the Jax, but it's just been so interesting. You know, are they willing to even go to the Wukong here? You know, knowing that they could be up against the Lee Sin, they are, in fact, going to lock it in. And it just feels like the read is, well, Zeus, your good answers to the Gwen is really just the GP, right? Because the Jace didn't work in game 1. GP is what he's played throughout this. Is he willing to go to something like the Jax? Would be really, really exciting if he were willing to go towards it, but I kind of feel like we might just be getting something a little bit more vanilla, like the Gnar again.
I mean, he's played Jax 3 times this year, has won every single game where he's
got
played
a Jax game this tournament.
Yeah, played it once in MSI as well, and it is the known counter, like the most prominent counter for the Gwen. T1 taking their time, Chase instead. We saw this in game 1. Zeus did win the laning phase, but then Bin just took over the game.
Well, and it just felt like he didn't win by enough. That's the thing, right? Like, the Gold League kind of lied to you because Bin farmed evenly. Zeus took a plate, maybe 2 plates, I believe it was. So yes, he did have a slight gold lead, but when you take the scaling into consideration, it just went so far in RNG's favor. And it does feel like they have kind of drafted Zeus into a little bit of a corner. We'll see if he can perform better this time around, or if T1 just want to go for a very different draft. Because we also have to remember, this was the Caitlyn Morgana game, I believe, in game number 1 that they brought out. And it did make the whole comp feel a little bit weird. They also had Nocturne in that one, but they had no dive buddies. So maybe the Jace can really fit in if you get some sort of a, you know, kind of like a pokey bot lane or something like that.
Kai'Sa is the champion I'm looking at right now. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I really like this Tahm Kench ban from RNG. I think that it's been such a huge thorn in their side because, as you rightly said, Jinx Tahm has been the bot lane that T1 have leveraged to have that solid team fighting prowess later on into the game. So mitigating half of that combo, I think, does a lot of value.
And I really wonder now, does Gumayusi have the confidence to just go to Aphelios or Jinx anyway when you're going against Lissandra and, you know, the Lee Sin if you do not have Keria playing that Tahm Kench behind you, right? So it's really becoming very, very interesting. I think
Lucian, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, Caitlyn, Xayah, Tristana is something we could
Ezreal,
Aphelios,
Aphelios, you know,
Jhin, Aphelios maybe.
Yeah. Jinx as well, right? There are options.
Kalista.
That feels so weak.
No, I know, but it's been a consistent ban here. I don't think that Kalista would be good for T1, and they're going to agree and go for the Jhin.
Jhin does work in supporting your dive, but if you're the one being dove upon, it becomes very difficult to really play the game. And I do think that what RNG is drafting feels like it wants to run at the Jhin, and T1 would have to preempt that by being the ones to engage, kind of create that space for Jhin to be more follow-up where he can be successful.
Especially if you go Tristana Leona here. Like, you have a very strong composition at getting on top of that Jhin and making sure he can't really play the game. RNG do still have a few other options, but I actually really like, well, Leona or Rakan, something that gives you that backline threat.
Yeah, I think the Rakan kind of guarantees that you are going to be able to land that CC on the champions like this Jhin, like this Jace. Do they dare?
I really think this could be really good here.
The Keria has played Zilean, I believe, in the LCK, you know, a number of times. And I do think Zilean support is one of the best scaling supports, if not the best scaling support in the entire game. I think it's really good, especially because it's a lot of single target pick here. Instead, changing over to Yuumi. Yuumi Jhin, very popular combo because of the massive amount of move speed. You also have a really good pairing with the Wukong and with the Ahri. You know, that flat AD or AP that you can give them really amps up their ability to actually knock down these kills. And of course, Prowling Projectile plus the root from your ultimate is also really, really strong. So interesting stuff, a lot of new things.
I would have really liked the Zilean, but as you rightly said, I think the Yuumi does offer a strong scaling, and as you rightly said, it also complements a lot of high mobility champions.
Yeah.
And against a Rakan lane, it's going to be difficult to punish. He's not the most aggressive of laners, and he's not a champion that usually dominates in the 2 versus 2, so Yuumi can kind of play quite safe alongside the Jhin.
And I think one of the things that's also really cool is that the Yuumi kind of is a bit of a dive buddy here for Owner and Faker, right? It allows you to kind of go forward with 3, diving in towards some of these carries. My main concern for T1 is just what is Zeus going to be able to get done in this top lane? If he cannot create a large advantage against this Gwen, we know that Gwen is going to have the run in the side lane. I'm expecting it to be Ghost Gwen again, like it was in game number 1, where it was, I believe, 13-0 on that Gwen for Bin. So that is that kind of inevitable feeling, but maybe they're feeling, hey, with the Yuumi, we get that additional scaling, and our mid-jungle is going to be that much stronger. The Jhin could be that much stronger that the Gwen maybe isn't going to run over the game.
It is in game 5s where all of the pressure is on and teams can often falter. The pressure can get to you, the execution, your confidence. You don't want to be the player that makes the mistake that loses your team the game. But these are veteran organizations. They are led by the veteran players in Xiaohu, Ming, and Faker. And it's up to the players behind these veterans to feel confident in their leaders to be able to execute and bring their team to victory.
And it's so interesting because I completely agree. In a lot of these cases, teams can start to play a little bit too defensive, right? They're scared to make that mistake. And oftentimes, in those situations, it is the player who has the confidence to make the play, to go for the big move that can actually come out on top. That sometimes being the aggressor can often really work in your favor. Ming starting sweeper here, wanting to play to clear out that brush. In melee versus range, having side brush advantage with a ward is really, really big. So Ming trying to make sure that the Jace does not have that.
You see Ono and Keria switching over to sweepers as well. Of course, Wei cannot do that. It means that you have a little bit more vision control as T1 in the early game if you can catch out some of those wards. Wei needs his ward to be able to safeguard forward, to be able to look for some of those gank paths. And so far, we have had a back-and-forth series, both RNG and T1 landing punches. The early game has often dictated who will be able to take the lead later on. So this game is for everything. Both these teams fighting for their 3rd title here at MSI.
Man, you just have to love how scrappy these guys. Every single game, level 1 starts, they're trading. They're not going for minions. They're just going right at each other.
They're just trying to proc that electrocute, get it on cooldown sooner so you can proc the electrocute again. Right? It's really important, especially in RA lanes, that you're able to go for early skirmishes, but Zeus doing the same thing alongside being good trade for Zeus overall. Able to use the phase rush to create a big enough gap, which means that now he's got a big health advantage. Goes back to the range form, chips away at Bin once again. And notice he is running the biscuit, so he will have that small health advantage. And Zeus playing this 1v1 very well.
I just love that little bit of tech. Oh, Xiaohu going forward is going to proc the electrocute. But yeah, you just start acceleration gate because then when Bin goes forward,
you can't get on. Keria cannot jump back onto Gumayushi. The chase is on. The ignite is ticking, and Ming will claim first blood.
And And in game 5, when you have to step up, it is RNG's bot lane that find a 2 versus 2 kill. A very narrow window to punish, but RNG strike.
Absolutely. They're going in. They get 2 first.
Gumayusi, nowhere for him to go. Does still have the flash. Will try and use it away from this battle dance. Gala, though, gets the reset for the jump forward. And it's all RNG in the bottom side of the map. Gumayusi, though, survives in the midst of the minions now. Ming has to be careful. Faker jumped on, dodges away from the Sonic Wave. The charm will connect, but he will fall as well.
Oh my god, Ming tried to give the kill to Gala. He could have taken that with one last auto there. I'm not sure if that was a fleet proc that kind of made them miscalculate. Maybe the fleet came up at the last second there and got that little bit of healing out. Owner gonna look.
Look at the Xiaohu will get him once again. Flash forward, decimating, strike enough.
How reminiscent of that is that top earlier game of the top lane play, flashing past away to kill off a soul laner? Of course, that was on Bin, not Xiaohu, but very reminiscent. And not getting that kill is actually so impactful for bot lane, because if Gala gets that, like, that is massive. Going back with a better base, denying the wave. Instead, Gumayusi able to stay around. He's going to actually have the much better base himself. We can watch this one more time. In with the W, knocks him up, so Keria cannot reattach. The flash forward to get that 4th hit on the explosive charge. And then the... Somebody call Peta!
The googly eyes! Meanwhile, in mid, while that action was happening in the bot side, Faker got collapsed on. Level 2,
There was
Ari.
a ward on the Razor because I think they spotted.
Very weak.
There was no ping, so he may have walked, close
Just
enough.
around it, yeah.
Flash W, that was a good play from Xiaohu, leveraging the level advantage that he had to force the Suns out. And then Faker, he wants to try and get that level 3. Yeah, you can see what... a bit of an overstep, truth be told, by Faker there.
Oh,
he ends up getting punished, but now RNG on the offensive once again.
Zeus has flash, and he has Owner here as well. Owner will try and put the damage down to Xiaohu. No glacial path available for the Lissandra right now. Ring of Frost, though. Zeus going to try and get away, but you can't when there are 3 members of RNG surrounding you.
I love the confidence from RNG there. Just to foreshadow, actually TPing back. He gets charmed. Okay, almost had the timing. I was going to say, when you're TPing in that low against an Ahri, if Faker had the pixel perfect timing, you could actually die there. There's no ultimate. There's no stasis at this point to defend yourself. So Faker will, at the very least, get a little bit of chip damage down, deny maybe a minion or 2.
And we talked about how in Game 5s, teams can often feel the overwhelming pressure, the responsibility that you have to your team. But it feels like the RNG in this Game 5 has just kicked it up a gear. They are not slowing down at all. 2v2s going all in. Mid-jungle, not only are they attacking Faker, but they're also roaming towards the top side of the map. And they are challenging T1 in the early game. The best early game team in the world. And RNG is saying, no, not today. We're going to take you on.
Absolutely. And you can see something we didn't get to talk about. Gumayusi and Keria both running exhaust. So it is double exhaust in the bottom lane there, which is more atypical, but does scale very, very well. And also going for a very defensive build here, as Wei should just be able to hop out. Because it's a Tabby's rush. You do see Swifty's rush a lot more commonly, but very, very defensive here. I have some concerns about how effective that's going to be in the later stages. I do think it's great to stop the all-ins from Gala now, but a lot of the damage is magic, right? When you're thinking about even some of the damage, from Trist. But of course, Xiaohu and Bin are going to be the big threats, I feel like, to that backline.
For the moment, though, Gumayusi just trying to survive at the laning phase. Is up in CS, Wei and Xiaohu continue to move around the map, unlocking that mid lane. It's something we've talked about throughout the entire series. Faker has no plans. He gets caught in the frozen tomb. Xiaohu level 6 is enough, and Faker 2 deaths by the 6-minute mark.
This mid-jungle is just so lethal. The setup with Lissandra and the damage from Lee Sin is devastating, and Faker, the unkillable Demon King, finds himself with 2 deaths 6 minutes into the Game 5.
And I'm just so impressed by the summoner tracking, right? Right on the precipice of having that cleanse back, but RNG has the perfect timer. They go in, they get the kill right on the level up from Xiaohu. It's the same thing earlier. We've seen these plays happen so many times where it was the wraparound on that one, right as Xiaohu actually hit 6. They found that dive. And they're so good at playing around it. And Wei, I feel like, has just been the biggest difference in this series. He has been unreal. Game after game after game, intelligent pathing, covering his laners at the right time, team fighting incredibly well. He has just been outstanding.
You know what I'll say? LPL, Lee Sins, they're just synonymous with one another.
They hit different, man. They just hit different, and they hit every Q as well.
And every kick, often into the face, and usually whoever gets kicked into everyone else. And it's a terrifying prospect, and way living up to the legacy of LPL Lee Sin players for sure. RNG find themselves 4 kills to 1. The goal lead only 1,000. Bear that in mind. This goal lead is definitely repairable from the side of T1, and I wouldn't count them out just yet, but this early game heavily going in the favor of RNG for now. Yeah,
you absolutely don't want to count them out, and T1 looking towards topside, potentially trying to pull off a dive here on Bin. I believe he did just use the Shroud, so wouldn't have that available. And this could be a play they look for, but Wei is pathing up here and is 6 and has ulti.
No TP for Xiao, who shoves in the mid wave. Now he's on his way up here. Minion wave, not in the best of shapes. Cannon minion, gonna tank it up. Faker and Ona, you feel like they want to disengage this. They don't know where Xiao is.
They do know Lee is here. They spotted him out on that control ward by the blue buff. So they're just wasting time. They're just watching Bin farm right now.
Go, maybe, no. I thought they might go when they saw Wei actually move down, but instead, Xiao gets pushed mid, so yeah, they're just hesitating. I think they were pretty sure that Wei was going to step forward, but he played so respectfully.
Oh, the collapse from RNG. Are they going to go for it here?
Faker trying to dodge away from any possible Sonic Wave. Bot lane's on their way up as well. Gumayushi and Carrier move to the mid lane, as do Ming and Gala. Nothing really happens off towards the top side. Importantly, Faker lost about 2 waves to the mid tier 1.
Again, just it feels like it's played perfectly by Wei. If you actually walk over to the tower, you're going to get intercepted on your way over and potentially burst down. So he stays in range that if they go for a dive, he's right there.
Gumayushi has flash. Can try and use it. Of course, the zoomies from Yuumi do speed you up, and that's exactly why Gumayushi was able to walk out of that one.
You also have that bonus movement speed from the fleet footwork too. Gumayushi, a speedy guy.
Thought you were going to hit us with the Gumi as well. You know,
no.
The zoomies from Yuumi speed up the Gumi.
Game 5 of MSI Finals.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Please don't fire me. I like casting League of Legends.
I think you're good. You're a world champion, so you'll be fine. This will be the first tower secured by RNG, and completely uncontested. It's something that has been a big point of contention throughout this series, but T1's early game is only going to fall further and further away from them, as RNG will leverage this to, it looks like, secure the top tier 1.
Yeah, they're looking to press in on this, and that's so concerning for Zeus in a matchup where you're going to get outscaled. You know, if you are falling down behind, of course, Bin is not the beneficiary of all this play goal, but still, the more you can keep Zeus down, the faster he's going to get outscaled by Bin as Ming's looking in.
Looking for Ona, who's able to dodge away, re-engage a possibility. Xiao who blast coned over the wall.
And that was actually the clone, I think, that Xiao who ulted. So really nice timing there on the W from Owner. But again, Bin down towards that bottom side, you know, will be collecting this farm. My big concern, my big question mark for T1 is how do they answer Bin in the side lane if he can get to that really strong point? I do think they have great scaling across the rest of their 4 positions. And Jace can be a strong team fighter. It just doesn't really match what Gwen can do in the side lane, especially with Ghost.
It's a concerning spot for T1, for sure.
A great spot for RNG, though.
Of course. And a reminder, both of these teams currently hold 2 MSI titles. They are fighting for the first team in League of Legends history to be a 3-time MSI holder. And for RNG, this could be a back-to-back MSI win. The only other organization to achieve such a feat was T1, 2016 and 2017. So a lot on the line, a lot of pride for 2 of League of Legends' most historic orgs and players. And for now, RNG are dominating the early game.
And it is worth noting, you know, Zeus walked into mid lane. I saw Gathering Storm tick over. So he is at least going scaling runes. You know, he is going the tier build here. So he is going to have some more scaling, you know, than maybe some of the Jaces who really index towards early game heavily. So that could help to kind of keep him more relevant in the matchup against Bin. You're really looking for the Riftmaker timing. You know, if Bin can get Riftmaker at a good time, that's when the 1v1 really does start to swing. But I just have to give credit Bin. Like, he's been so adept at actually picking up a lot of these farm, you know, utilizing that Shroud very, very effectively to kind of get the maximum out of it every single time and just stay really healthy to the point where T1 can't really hammer home any sort of an advantage, and Zeus can't really get much more damage on the tower.
Of course, Bin has been in this sort of position before. Worlds 2020, he was with Suning and lost to Damwon Kia, one of those few LCK victories in the last few years, and I'm sure he has a lot of weight on his shoulders to make sure that today he steps up and step up. He has as he catches out Zeus. Zeus can get the knockback. Bin will just keep him in the area, stop that recall happening. Rift Hell put down in the mid lane. This gold is going to be funneled over to Xiaohu and to Wei. You can see that 400 gold lead for Wei in the jungle, but in the mid lane, actually 700 in the advantage of Xiaohu as well.
Absolutely. Those early kills that they got on Faker really creating an edge there, and it does mean RNG going to grab their 2nd straight dragon here. So back to their winning ways, you know, what they've been able to accomplish. Great trade from Xiaohu.
Frozen Tomb cleanse out of Faker, Spirit Rush away. Ona's coming in. Xiaohu does still have the flash. Ona looking for the flash engage, but the Cyclone is flashed away.
That was really fast flash there from Xiaohu, not even getting knocked up by Owner. A great response from him.
Gala going to use the W in to try and get a bit of chip damage onto Yushi Carrier. They're looking for the dive.
Going all the way around, final chapter coming out. The root doesn't connect, but Ming is low, does have the quickness, has the flash. Wei trying to hold the wave. Curtains open. Gala should be able to tank this. Wei does hit the Sonic Wave, but won't go in with the kick. No minion wave there for him. Wei now not in the best of spots as Owner can come in from the side. Gumayushi trying to keep Wei interested. Xiaohu can move from the mid lane as well.
And he can't overchase though because there's still a Tristana pushing up towards this tower, so Wei will be able to back it out. Very well played though by the T1 bot lane. Diffusing that situation really calmly, not blowing any summoners. It does cost them double ultimates, but that was really well handled.
I very much agree, Azale. I think that T1's bot lane have done what they showcased, weathering the pressure storm. Of course, they did falter in the straight-up 2 versus 2. They lost Carrier, but for the time being, they've managed to claw their way back in, and now Owner, with Carrier on his back, are threatening this mid tower. Can they get a plate? Ooh, Xiaohu looking for that route onto Carrier means that they could have gone for a collapse.
This is such typical support gameplay. You're like, if I get these autos on the tower, I get 20 gold, and I get closer towards getting my quest item. That's exactly what he's doing there. He wants the wards from his totem. He hasn't got it yet because they haven't been able to harass that much in lane. Usually, you can get it from auto attacks, you can get it from prowling projectile. Here we see Carrier still without a vision item 14 minutes in.
I mean, he's had to respect the potential all-in from Ming. He died once in lane, and if you detach and get R flashed on immediately by Ming, you're going to die. So he has to play respectfully, but it's a great point, Medic, because yeah, their vision is going to be much more limited. They're going to really heavily depend on pink wards because they have 3 sweepers and no sight zone on their support.
Makes it so much harder for you to play around these dragons as well. RNG already at 2 dragons up. There's still 3 minutes on the next one. Faker. Spirit rushes away, Frozen Tomb coming in, there's a quickness as well, and Faker has nowhere to go, no cleanse, no way out. RNG for the 3rd time in this game, shut out Faker.
Again, I mean, they just make it so easy. It looks so easy to actually play around cleanse, right? Earlier, trading back and forth very aggressively. When we saw Xiaohu have to trade flashes with Owner, they force the cleanse. They have the timer, they go for the play. They're so amazing at this, it's just insane.
And usually T1 would be able to ward the side, but they can't do it as Ming looks for Zeus underneath the tower. He's going to flash away. Ming will tank up a single tower shot as Owner and Carrier are on their way. Gumayushi here as well. A long-range deadly flourish could be enough to catch out someone from RNG. Wei just short. Final chapter coming out. Dash away with a safeguard, but the deadly flourish won't be enough. The curtain call will help as Zeus takes the kill.
And T1 will finally get something back on the board, but what will it cost them? Yes, they're able to get that kill onto Wei,
they gotta dive.
And they may very well be able to get the tower, but here they go.
Call in the submarines, you're going for a dive. Gumayushi chasing forward here. Bin, no ghost. Does have the Hallowed Mist and will escape using it.
Of course, Gala securing the bot tower. T1 will exchange on the top. You can see the goal difference still very significant. About 3k in RNG's favor. Ming overdived a little bit on that top tower, meaning that he was forced to burn his flash to disengage. T1 with Gumayushi already on his way up towards the top side of the map, recognized that he could punish, and it ended up being RNG losing a little more than they bargained.
Yeah, just well played by Zeus. The early flash, very respectful, and then Ming having to flash out in retreat. T1 on the attack here, getting up there. Just needed to get in range. Great job by Owner, into the minions to bring Carrier closer for the ultimate, to land that route, the shock blast from Zeus, hammering it home, getting the kill, and which was a shutdown as well on Wei. They take the tower as well, which is really, really nice, but it's solo gold for Gala on the other side, and that's something you always have to really track is the isolated gold all on your marksman is so much more effective than actually splitting it on the other side of the map for T1. And we can see that reflected in the items here. Both of these marksmen, on Mythic plus tier boots, but it's about 900 extra gold worth of stuff on Gala.
And look at the armor boots that have been picked up for Gala as well. He recognizes that, you know what, why have I got to be scared of Faker? Who cares if he charms me, you know?
Because Faker can 1v9 the game, that's why.
Done it in the past. He's not in the best of positions to do it this game, though, as L03. Control would actually dodged by both Owner and Carrier there. RNG have knowledge of the jungle support from T1.
Again, look at this vision being invested from RNG. They will have full vision control of the top side. Ward, ward, ward. Just The whole map littered with vision from RNG, leveraging the pressure that they have over the map in order to gain control and gain insight as to what T1 is trying to do.
And you can see T1 are going to kind of just leave Guma farming in mid, and it is Carrier pairing up with Owner. It's going to be him and Owner, him and Faker, this really powerful diving duo who can threaten, and they're shutting out vision towards this top side to enable Zeus to really push it up, and now the root lands.
It's Rakan, he can dodge away, has multiple ways of doing it, and he will escape.
I think the logic here from T1 was, well, you know what? We know that this dragon is exactly what RNG are going to play for. So instead, let's try and contest the mid wave, then let's attack, and then maybe we can secure this tier 2 tower in the top lane. But RNG were like, again, we can only send one person. You know, we'll just have Wei go solo the dragon, and then maybe our bot lane can contest, and they actually kept 2 people top. So T1 trying to make this cross map happen means that they end up not getting anything off the back of it.
And I'm really concerned now for T1's chances in this game. It is Soul Point, you're down gold. You know, generally, if all things are played even, you trade dragon advantage for gold advantage for the other team, right? But RNG have been able to get both through superior playmaking, through superior laning. So much of what they got done around mid lane really was the difference. They've shut down Faker so effectively this game. They took away the LeBlanc. They constantly attacked and taxed out his cleanse and punished him every single time he was missing it. So, you know, Faker way pushed down. It is not the death cap Ahri even that he's building towards. So he pit stopped there for some healing debuffs, and it's going to mean, you know, his damage is way lower than where you would normally expect it at this point in the game. And they really only have 4 minutes to get to their maximum amount of power, because in 4 minutes, RNG will get Mountain Soul. And I just feel if you give Mountain Soul over with this T1 comp that is very much about the upfront damage, that your chances at that championship are really starting to slip away.
RNG just playing the map so perfectly in this early game. They are very good at playing from behind in the early game. They're even better at playing from ahead. They do not give you a window of opportunity to attack as the Rift Herald comes down on the top side of the map. Faker just having to play defensively. Walking away from this, knows that his tower is forfeit. And although T1 do have some vision control towards that blue side of the jungle, RNG very willing just to continue to step up. RNG have never gone through T1 in a best of 5. They have lost the last 4 in a row. The last time they met was all the way back in 2017. But RNG are on the precipice, on the cusp of the back-to-back MSI titles and their 3rd title overall.
When we talk about the LPL's dominance, it's been a wide array of different teams. Invictus Gaming winning the World Championship in 2018, RNG winning MSI in 2018, EDG winning in last year. FPX, we've seen so many different rosters, so many different players come from the LPL and absolutely dominate. And RNG is getting close to becoming one of the most consistent international powerhouses, securing 3 international titles. If they're able to win this, we put them one step ahead of their LPL brothers.
Absolutely, and really would make them you know, have to be considered one of the big favorites potentially for Worlds as well, looking towards that. And this RNG team, you know, really building that consistency and trying to build a dynasty of their own here and stop T1 from beginning a new one here, you know, with this young roster. It's going to come down to T1 trying to make plays here.
Finn has the Hallowed Myth, will pop it. Faker going in with the Spirit Rush as well. And you can see Zeus was on his way, but there was a ward in the bush.
She's so strong. Like, Faker does all the right things here. The collapse from T1 also good, but the moment that she goes immune, what can Faker do?
And honestly, I think for this next fight, it's time to buy stopwatches. It's time to buy, you know, potions, get the maximum amount of power. Because I think this fight, if T1 loses it, that very likely decides the entire series. You know, RNG are finishing those second items critically.
Never crossed down by Shahu. They're just looking for the tower here. They won't quite get it. Faker and Ona able to defend it. RNG, though, starting to react.
Zeus.
Ward on the bush. Zeus going for Bin, looking for the 1v1, but Gala is there, and then Zeus realizes he can't take the straight up frost out. Shahu not able to get away from the deadly flourish, and the chase continues. Curtain calls, come down. Shahu will fall. Zeus surviving for as long as he can, but the needle work finds its mark. Eclipse will not save you now. Bin snips him down. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the final chapter coming out as they look for Wei. Carrier with a good slow. There's the exhaust coming out as well. Ona, Cyclone, a possibility. Does he have the Nimbus strike? Does he have the range? Cyclone under the tower. Wei looking for the kickback. Ona healed up with the zoomies. Teleport coming in now by Bin as RNG look to try and keep their jungler alive.
T1 getting very scrappy here. We have to track the cooldowns that were used. I think it's so smart that Shahu didn't spend anything there. They're going to try to look for a pick, but Bin will be backing it up. He has no TP, so he's got a base right now. And Xiaohu gonna have his ult, his flash, everything. He spent nothing there, just accepted that he was caught, accepted that he was gonna go down. Owner very likely will not have his ultimate for this big, potentially penultimate fight. Carry it, I think it's gonna be a close thing for him as well. T1 feel like they are missing more of those critical cooldowns. They don't flash on Owner either. Bin is the only one who really spent much, him and Wei, and their ultimates are gonna be back up, so this is very, very tough for T1. It's gonna take some sort of a massive play for them to really be able to come out on top here.
T1 are in a very difficult position right now.
No vision on the bottom side.
You can see their itemization as well, sort of like strung together. RNG with 2 completed items on multiple members. The BF sword finish for Gala as well. They have the push in bot, they're contesting the wave in mid. The vision is being cleared out. And exactly, thank you observers for highlighting how little T1 can see. They are walking into the darkness, the abyss that is RNG. Someone has to face check. Faker will gain access into the river.
Faker looks for the jump to get onto Xiaohu, but Xiaohu has the frozen tomb to get out of it. Owner in the backline with the cyclone trying to do what he can, but Ming with a 4-man charm. Kemir dives off, but in goes Wei. The kick back onto Zeus. RNG just sweep the floor with T1, and you have to feel it's as good as done.
RNG get the fight. They try to find the pick on a Xiaohu. It's the charm flash, but they're not able to make it happen. Bin will solo the dragon here with Xiaohu coming in to help, so there will be 2 on that. They're moving up towards Baron already. RNG getting everything they need to close this one out. They left no doubt about it in that team fight. Kick flash from Wei was huge. And Xiaohu, as soon as he did not go down, T1 had just spent so much to try to take him out.
4 members fall to the fierceness of RNG. They will secure themselves the soul. That will be the Baron as well. A last-ditch TP effort from T1. Will this be enough to save them the game?
Owner's almost here.
There's looking for it as well. RNG on the Baron, but it is secured by Wei. Ming dumps over and stops Gumayusi and Owner getting into the fight. T1 knew they had to do something, but they could not find their window.
It was a good try. Zeus Shock Blast brought that down to about 350 health, 370, right about that. But now RNG, everything they need here to close this one out. Let's watch it one more time. It was a great attempt from Faker. The charm flash onto Xiaohu. The call is burst him out before he can react, but they don't have the damage. Gumayusi is not there to follow up. If Gumayusi was in, perhaps they can make something happen. And then watch this from Wei, the engage from Ming, and then kick flash there, knocks him in. Zeus goes down, and so do the hopes of T1 in this game.
Incredibly well executed fight, and T1 doing what they can to find a win in the fight, but they were limited. Faker was shut down in the early game. He was relentlessly attacked by Xiaohu and Wei. Ming even got involved. They were just non-stop aggression towards that mid lane, and Faker, he's done what he could. He has tried as hard as possible, but it has not been enough in the face of RNG.
Faker's combo doesn't even get through the Mountain Soul shield right now on Ming. RNG unrelenting, pushing forward. Xiaohu looking for the frozen tomb, and there goes Ming once again onto the backline. The exhaust going down. Gumayusi so low. Kemir with a good final chapter. A cyclone onto the backline. Perhaps this is T1's hopes, but look at their hopes being dashed against the rocks. They have spent 5 years in the wilderness, and they're going to spend another few months at least. RNG, unrelenting, unstoppable, continue their advance.
RNG will do what few have been able to do before. They will match T1 in the back-to-back victories, and they will look to win MSI.
Xiaohu, the little tiger, has roared into life. The LPL continue their era of dominance, and they are leaving no one alive. It's RNG's world, and we're just living in it.
What a performance from RNG here across the series. So calm, so collected in all of their wins. Really looking dominant here against T1. Blue side winning every single game in this series. The draft meaning so much. But it was RNG playing around mid lane here. The mid jungle 2v2 in this one really meant everything. Wei and Xiaohu were incredible in this one, constantly pressuring Faker. I think Wei was really the difference maker across these 5 games.
And I was just so impressed with the confidence from RNG. Like, we talked about it at the beginning of the game, but I was not expecting RNG to just kick it into another gear at the beginning of the game. level 1, they went all in the bot lane. Level 3, they ganked mid before Faker even got there. The aggression, the consistency, the execution on all of their plays was flawless. And RNG took a well-deserved Game 5.
And Star Trophy Ceremony presented by Mercedes-Benz as we see RNG gathered around their 3rd MSI title. Everyone around the world, raise your hands together and give applause for RNG. They are your 2022 MSI champions.
And back-to-back wins from Xiaohu across 2 different roles at MSI. One of the most impressive feats we've ever seen in League of Legends. The new face of RNG. Xiaohu and Ming at the center of their dynasty have been truly incredible.
It really has, RNG. It was close in some games. T1 gave them a good fight, but RNG were just a cut above today. T1, of course, commiserations to them as we see them take their bow in front of the Korean crowd. There's a long road forward for T1. They have this new level of play coming up through their new players, and the only expectation is that this team will continue to rise and rise and rise.
Exactly that. I think T1, they're going to be frustrated. Of course they are. They were 1 game away, and Faker, I'm sure he's going to feel frustrated, but there was little he could do, and I think that there's so much potential in this roster. The world has noticed what T1 is capable of. Everyone knows what they will do come Worlds, and everyone is expecting them to challenge the best.
I mean, this was a team 1 game away from the World Finals last year, now 1 game away from the MSI Championship. Their improvement is undeniable. Their strength is undeniable. This team has an incredibly bright future. 4 very young, promising players, flanked by the greatest player of all time in Faker. T1 can be proud of the performance that they put forward here. Of course, not the result that they were hoping for, but RNG were an incredible opponent.
Yeah, and the young players on RNG really stepping up as well. Bin, after some inconsistencies at the start of the tournament, was a rock for them today. Wei, as well, as you say, only 19 years old, had a stellar performance then with Gala coming in, with Ming and Xiaohu there as your backbone. RNG looked like a force to be reckoned with come Worlds.
They certainly are, and unfortunately for T1, their lossless series streak
best of 5s, yeah.
will be broken here today, but I imagine that returning to the LCK, there will be a powerhouse once more. This is a team that can very clearly challenge the world's best, and I'm excited to see what they have in store for us in summer. But massive congratulations once again to RNG. A consistent Rumble stage, a consistent performance throughout the playoffs, and a team that everyone will be watching as we get closer and closer to this year's World Championship.
I mean, I think it's inarguable. RNG had the highest level of performance, I think, across the event. You know, they were not a team that had almost any low lows. They were very solid, very strong, incredible stuff.
It really was incredible stuff all round by RNG. T1 as well had a superb performance. RNG, your 2022 MSI champions.
Busan, South Korea, host of the 2022 Mid-Season Invitational. The fans have shown up in full force. The reigning MSI champions are representing their region once again.
Flash Ignite, they're going in for Gala. Cleanse to get away from the slows, not gonna find the kill. Falcon could die, the flash follow. Gala needs to die, they're gonna trade it back, but support is when he gets the kill, but Danny has no way out. He's got no summoners. He's an auto from dead, the flash to follow. Ming's gonna block him off, a double kill. Ming!
I mean, they're going to ignite him right now. It's a 3v1. They go straight in with the Void Seeker. He's ticking down. Will he get taken out? He will not. But you will remember this as the day you almost caught Bin on Gangplank.
When we get to the mid-game, it's clean, it's clinical, and it just looks like a completely different team.
The Dragon available here for RNG. Jojo again in trouble. He's going to go down to Gala, and now Gala's going to keep on going. Bing with the wraparound, but KI over the top, and that's 2 kills for Wei. It's a Dragon is one of them. Gala going to pick up yet another kill. It's a double. It's a triple. Is it a quadra? Is it a penta? Gala's going to get it again. The penta kill for Gala. Gala, this man is ridiculously huge. Look at him go. It's a kill. It's 2 buttons. He pressed 2 buttons.
Xiaohu is to me the kind of epitome of RNG.
Here comes Bin into the pit. Xiaohu ults in as well. Heartbreakers across. 2K health in the Baron. Early smite. Wei gets it. Wei gets everything.
This is just pure pure domination right now from RNG.
RNG tear G2 apart, systematically dismantled. It is an absolute massacre for RNG.
RNG clearly the best team at MSI.
RNG on the way to their third MSI title.